This is 7 relation protection considered. Effective relations such hazard the frequency. This is summary the radiation of the electromagnetic spectrums all travel at the same velocity 1860.0 mile per second, but different in the wavelength and frequency. Wavelength is the distance between the two consecutive wave crests. The number of the cycle and crest per second is the frequency. The unit of the measurement is hertz. The wavelength and the frequency are inversely related. The speed the speed of light equal to frequency into wavelength. The two kinds of background radiation source are natural background radiations and artificial oblique man-made background radiation. Natural source account for the largest human exposure to ionizing radiation. The medical radiation exposure is the largest source of the artificial man-made ionizing radiation exposure to human. The ionizing radiation is caused by the high energy short wavelength electromagnetic radiations that break apart electrically natural atom. All type of X-ray radiations are produced at the anode through the energy conversion process. Bremsstrahlung radiation and the catastrophic radiation. Bremsstrahlung radiation is the predominant. The X-ray can be interact with the tissue cells and cause ionization. The interaction between the X-ray tissue and tissue cell that occurred most often the complement effect and the photoelectrical effect. The characteristic of the photoelectrical effect: the low energy beam X-ray photon give its energy eject inertial electron. The produce a characteristic radiation. Major contributor the patient dose. A cardiac absorption having the high atomic number produce the shorter scale contrast characteristic radiation of the complement scatter. The interaction that the predominant is the diagnostic X-ray change. The high energy X-ray proton used a portion of its energy to eject outer cell electron. The responsible for the scatter radiation fog to image was radiation hazard and hazard to personnel. Exposure dose depend on the beam attenuation and which the type of interaction occurred between the X-ray photon and tissue. Exposure dose is therefore affected by the radiation quality and the subject being irradiated, thickness, nature of the part, atomic number of the part. Dose relationship. Linear non-threshold, late effect. The ionizations of the living tissue can cause the chemical and biological damage to the somatic and oblique or genetic cells. A non-threshold response relationship indicates that there, there is no safe dose. There is no safe dose radiations of radiation. Any dose can cause the biological effect. The linear non-threshold dose. The linear non-threshold dose response relationship state stochastic response, cancer genetic effect, and the curve of choice and the occupational exposure. The occupationally exposed workers are concerned with the late example long-term delayed effect damaging radiation such as radiation induce genetic effect leukemia cancer bone lung thyroid biological effect radiation waking factor. This is the radiation energy tissue organs tissue waking factor radiation waking factor then. This is the type of DNA The law, the law of the Virgoni and the Tripodia state that the most radiation cells are young, indifferent, and the high meiotic cell. LET is another means of the exposure radiation quality and determine the radiation's working factor. The identically those different kind of the radiations will cause different biological effect. Hence, the need for the radiation weight working factor. The diagnostic radiations, low energy, low LET radiations. Radiation effect on the cell is named according to the interaction site, namely direct effect, indirect effect, radiolysis of water. The most radiation sensitive cells is lymphocyte. The radiation professional, we are the obligated to keep radiation exposure in our patient and ourselves alert. Pregnancy. This is due to way of reduced risk. Fertilize ovum. Positioning this chart for the pregnancy. Male side. Genitile. Somatic effect. Cataract. Summer. Delayed effect summary. Deliver the ionizing radiation during the early pregnancy is particularly hazardous. Possible response to radiations is utero include the spontaneous absorption, congenital abnormality, mental retardations, microcephaly and leukemia, and other childhood malignancies. Effective booking. Patient questioning the patient are the suggested way to avoid radiations the new embryo fetus. Gonadal seeding is here to male patient male because the reproductive organs are located externally. All child should be seeded whenever possible. Genetic effort image of the reproductive cells the affecting the reproductive reproductive capacity of the individuals or the creating maturation that will be passed on the future generation. The genetic dose of radiations bond each member of the reproductive population is called the genital significant dose. The somatic effect include these manifest themselves in the exposure individual and can be described the early late effect. Early somatic early some effect can occur only after a very large signal exposure radiation of the whole body. The late somatic effect include the carcinogenosis, catractogenosis, the embryologic effect, the span of shortening, reproduced disc, this systemic effect. The occupational exposure, personnel are the concerned with the late effective and radiation exposure. Now we will go to questioning. The type of dose response curve used to predict scotic effect is the linear non-threshold. Answer is next question is the dose of 0.25 gray to 25 red is the fetus during the 3rd to 4th week pregnancy is most likely to cause with the following: skeleton abnormally, this is B1. The linear energy transfer is LET is method of expressing radiation quality, measure of the rate which radiation energy is transferred to soft tissue. The answer is 1 and 2. B. What is the effect of the relative biological effect and linear energy effect, REV and LET? The answer is B. LET increase, RBE LET decrease, RBE decrease. Directly proportional. The effect of the radiation biological material are depend on the several factors. If the quality of radiation delivered to body long period of time, the effect will be less than if it will be delivered all at one time. B. Fifth one, B. Sixth one, which of the following account of radiation beam heterogeneity? The answer is incident electron interacting several layers, the tungsten atom. Electron moving to fill different cell vacancy. So answer is first, second, B. First and second. So here is B. Seventh one is the what is used to account of the relative radiosensitivity of the various tissue organ. Tissue working factor or radiation working factor of those. The answer is A. Seventh, A. And how wavelength and energy related inversely. The beam of X-ray photon leaving to X-ray tube can be described as having, this is heterogeneous. And 10th is the long term effect. Radiation exposure include formation of cataract, cancer and genetic effect. So all of 3, 1, 2, 3. So D will be answer. Ninth one will be B answer. Seventh one will be B answer. I will check the answer. Seventh one will be A answer. Seventh one will be A answer. And eighth one will be B answer. Yeah, seventh one will be answer because yeah, so sixth one sixth one also B. Okay, thank you.